try to make me feel embarrassed. Their attempts have been in vain, but they tell me I'm the one with problems. They're the ones who are insane. So for those who want but won't admit it, you shouldn't feel like that, cause you could be 20% cooler and 10 seconds slower. Shout it out. I'm proud to be a brony. Yeah, yeah. I'm proud to be a brony.
Hello mares and gentle colts, my fellow bronies. Welcome to I'm Brony and I'm Proud. I've got Darky Marcrov Nikki, aka Ben Whitehead, with me. Hello Darky.
Hello!
How's it going, man?
It is very well, my brother.
Nice one, excellent. As you can hear, listeners, we are excited beyond belief. We've never met before, and this is going to be one hell of a show. So, Darky, how did you become a brony?
Very long story. When season 1 was just, airing and all that, I used to go onto a forum, and at one point the forum admin banned ponies from ever being posted. This got me into saying, oh, what are ponies? What are they about? I went into it, and lo and behold, I got into it.
Would this forum be any chance 4chan?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a forum that's centered around Sonic the Hedgehog fans. So I became a brony a bit, and I started posting ponies. Oh man, I'm gonna be rebellious. You ain't gonna silence me. And yeah. Then that led to me going onto Facebook and being like, I wonder if there's any other bronies in the world. Well, actually, that came from first hearing about conventions. Because the idea of just going and hanging out with people without, having to pay or whatever for, getting into a place. Conventions like local conventions. And that idea fascinated me. This caused me to find the Bronies New South Wales group. And that's a bit where I started to go off from being a brony. What happened was, after a while, going to other brony groups such as Australia Bronies and Canberra Bronies. But somewhere along the line, a controversy happened. I have nothing against the LGBT community. Nothing against them. The fallout happened with a musician in the brony fandom. I'm not going to say his name, but yeah, he's just a musician in the brony fandom. And I said one thing, and then one thing led to another, and it ended up with me saying, why don't you come to my house? You can film me saying an apology to you. And after that, I had a little childish rant and then left the group. But I didn't start going off until just at the start of season 4. So I stayed around for a good bit.
Right. So early seasons and the incident, and then sort of, for matter of word, gone offline and then came back online with season 4. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So at least a couple of years.
I went offline for a night and then came back online the other night because you know what sleeping does to people. It just refreshes you. Wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, I can take on the world. Continued on talking to people in the fandom, watching the show, but during the wait between season 3 and season 4, I moved on to other fandoms and whatnot.
Fair enough. So what kind of fandoms did you move on to?
One of them is Dark Souls. That's a big fandom that I'm a part of now. Around 80% of 4chan/V is a big fandom of Dark Souls.
Okay, that's pretty big. Listeners, as you know, or you will know, that 4chan is pretty much the origin story of the My Little Pony fandom, or the Brony fandom. And 4chan has been this, at times controversial place where, nothing's held back. Anyone can discuss about anything. Trolls are maximum. I'm not sure if you're aware, but 4chan did ban anyone posting pony stuff for a while. Eventually, they created a separate MLP section on the network, which just shows how awesome it is and how difficult things can be. 4chan is freaking huge. That's the point I'm going for. Freaking huge. But I'm not on it, though. So why did 4chan become 8chan? What's the significance? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's just doubling the number. Is it just a reflection on the expansion of the site?
Well, 8chan is actually hosted by a separate person who isn't affiliated with the main admin of 4chan Mood.
So apart from being a brony, you're a member of other fandoms. Who is Darky? What does your life entail at the moment, and how did you get there?
Darky comes from my old username, Dark Yellows. Later on, I started using it more and more in my own OCs. One of these OCs is a part of the pony fandom that I'm not going back to that much. It's a unicorn, which is why I'm not proud of it, called Darky or Ben, which are the two names that I usually use for a lot of OCs and all that, but it's mostly just incarnations of the same OC. I've dabbled in making fanfictions. One of these fanfictions that have been successful as I can get for my standards is called Robo-Luna. If you go on to FIMfiction.net, it gives you tips on what not to write, and it gives you a manual for a robot Princess Luna. Later on, as I was writing it, I thought, why not make it a little drama, a little slice of life? So I did. it turned into something that I was really proud of, because as I put it in and it ended up getting accepted, I was really surprised how they would let something that they exclusively said, do not copy from, do not make something like this from. It was just amazing.
I think I know why. They would put that up there as a warning because, first of all, probably a lot of bronies have tried it and failed with a vengeance. And maybe you just finally, you took that and you hit it right on the nose.
Probably. Saying that would make me feel special about myself, but, The thing with FIMfiction.net, I don't know if it's still going on, but you have to have, I think, over 1,000 words before you can have it put up on the site. And that was my first problem, because back then I didn't know how to describe things and just put out like a lot of detail and keep going on things without leaving it on a cliffhanger. I had a author's note, and author's notes, those words don't count. So what I did then was I made a little mini-series at the end, which is just like a little misadventure of what Robo Luna would end up seeing, doing and all that. One thing about Robo Luna that I really regret not doing, diving more into what Robo Luna as a character could be. One of the things I planned was this weird little part of fanfiction where go into a setting where I guess you could say like goes into heat and whatnot, but I ended up scrapping that because this felt too wrong at the time.
Yeah, it sounds a bit wrong.
I think I mentioned when I was first talking about Robo Luna, I had another fanfiction. This one was called My Little Story. I can't remember, but there was a YouTuber, I don't know if he's still going, that read My Little Pony fanfictions. Some of these would be really good, some of these would be really bad. One of these was My Little Twilight. I think it was like a spin-off of My Little Dashie, but
doesn't sound like a winner to me, because My Little Dashie made me cry 3 times. The most beautiful sad story. And listeners, there is actually a sequel on DeviantArt. If you Google My Little Dashie sequel DeviantArt, for example, you will get actually not just the comic version of the first story, but there's actually a comic version of a sequel. So I really encourage you to check it out. It's definitely entertaining. It is not as dramatic as the first story, but definitely worth a look.
I don't know if this is still a funny joke to be using, but I guess you could say your heart exploded twice. So back to My Little Story. It was a play on lucid dreaming, where everything that happened to the character, which I had to base off myself for, since I was young and all I knew was myself, that well. But basically everything that happened was all because of what you wanted, what you have always dreamed of having. One of these things was a lot of shipping.
No problem with that. I think shipping's popular in many fandoms. Sometimes the shipping is great, and some of them is like, this doesn't work, you shouldn't even go there kind of thing. But shipping is definitely fun.
Sometimes it's fun, other times it's just, do not go near that subject.
It's like that movie, Anger Management. I told you not to go there. I told you not to go there.
Reminded me so much of how Dark Souls fandom came to be, because it didn't get any, marketing per se. It was just all word of mouth, which I found really fascinating.
And when we say word of mouth, are we talking about person to person, or word of mouth via social media, or, or even by email, or even more old school, forums?
All of the above, really. For any fandom to just grow from word of mouth is actually awesome.
That's actually an important point, because there's probably a lot of fandoms that still stay within that word of mouth, that inner circle, and maybe, don't grow out of that.
I think Earthbound is a part of that. Earthbound is a very old game where the creator took a swing at the JRPG genre and made something hilarious, made a masterpiece.
And when you say JRPG, I presume you mean Japanese role-playing game.
Yeah, which is the general thing for it.
The fandoms I'm part of course, My Little Pony, Stargate, Star Trek is probably third on the line, if you count Back to the Future as a fandom. I did go to a Back to the Future con, and it was, all surrounded by Christopher Lloyd, but definitely those clear top 3. As a segue to you, consider your top 3 fandoms. And if it helps, just think about in terms of involvement or usage.
Tohu. That's number 1 on the list, because I have been a part of that fandom for a very long time now.
And just to clarify, what is Tohu?
Tohu is a bullet hell game.
What does bullet hell mean?
A lot of bullets, one screen.
Sweet! And the occasional explosion, I presume.
If the creator of the game is feeling adventurous, he or she or they will put a lot of explosions on screen.
When we say create the game, so what do you mean by that? Are we talking, is it more like SimCity, for example, like that kind of game? Or, when we say creator, this is more like a god game, I presume.
It's like when you sit down at a computer and you're like, alright, I'm going to make a game, I'm going to create a game, I'm going to send it out into public and hope that it's a good game.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of a Dungeons and Dragons of yesteryear kind of thing. You populate the game, you create the universe, send it out, get people involved, and take it from there.
Yeah, kind of. What I found amazing with some of the bullet hells is that some of them, although being very, very long in both skill and story, they were made by one person.
Right. You've played with people in these bullet hells, or we can even, for my own terminology, these are sort of like universe in a bottle kind of thing. So I guess the question is, how do you find out about a bullet hell game? Is it through forums?
Or just by word of mouth?
So how does it happen for you?
Well, how I found out about my first bullet hell, it was about the time Sonic and the Black Knight came out.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody posted a video that was labeled Touhou 6 Embodiment of Scarlet Devil. And after that, I can remember vague memories of just playing it and really enjoying it. But after that, it's like those cases where you find something from your childhood that you haven't seen for so many years. And it was just amazing to find this game, Touhou. Listeners, you've got to search up Touhou. I know of a pony crossover with Touhou that has already been done. It has been out for a long time now. Think about 2 or 3 years. Do not quote me on that. But know there's a pony crossover with Touhou and or bullet hell games in general.
So just to spell it out for our listeners, how do you spell Touhou?
Touhou. That's the fan translated. I think I'd be right saying fan translated way of spelling it. Normally it would be spelled without the U's.
Listeners again, it's Touhou. T for Tom, O for Orange, U for Umbrella, H for Harry, O for Orange, and U for Umbrella. Or for our Japanese listeners, Touhou.
Yes.
So Darky, so we've got at number 1 is Touhou. What's at number 2?
Number 2, I know that Dark Souls would be up there. Definitely. My Little Pony has come close a few times, sometimes even resting at number 1.
So is it safe to say that Dark Souls and MLP FIS are battling for a second spot on your list?
Yeah, they are.
Let the let the magic continue. And what takes the third spot on the Darky countdown?
Okay, no doubt about this. Anyone who would remember would agree with me. Harvest Moon.
That's a name that rings a bell. Enlighten me, Darky.
Harvest Moon takes on life aspects. You play as either a boy or a girl, depending on what copy of the game you pick up, and you manage a farm while also managing relationships with people. This also does include getting married, and I can't remember if it's still in the Harvest Moon series, but you can end up raising a family.
The gameplay is similar to a bullet hell-based universe?
No, definitely not.
Educate me.
Well, it's funny you say educate because it's a very educational game. Sometimes it's top-down and sometimes it's in a 3D-like view. One of the top-down views that I enjoy a lot of my times, and I find myself coming back to it, like physically and mentally, is Harvest Moon Friends in Mineral Town for the Game Boy Advance. While the Game Boy does have its limitations, it also has a lot of content. And when I said, what copy of the game you pick up, what I was thinking of was how Friends in Mineral Towns has 2 versions, which is, Friends in Mineral Towns and More Friends in Mineral Towns, where it allows you to play as a female, but both versions only allow you to play as a male and female respectively throughout the whole game. Harvest Moon takes on the question of what would it be like if, moved out into the countryside, had to take care of a farm.
From certain destruction.
Yes, from certain destruction.
So you said this was a game or series of games released for the Game Boy Advance, is that correct?
Well, not just for the Game Boy Advance. Many would remember, if they've been around for long enough, would remember Harvest Moon for the Nintendo 64. And sorry for the noise that's happening in the background. I don't know if there's been a pony make on it. I would be surprised if there has been, but if there hasn't been, I will be surprised as well.
It sounds like there's room for you to create one, my friend.
Yeah, if I've been getting into game making. You don't mind if I do a little plug?
Plugs are very welcome on I'm Brony and I'm Proud.
Currently, the name Darky, I am using it for a YouTube channel called Game Industry Perverts. Not for the faint of heart, I will say that. If you're not allowed to listen to people, saying what they want, don't go there and just listen willy-nilly, because we will say swear words, but we mean it all in jest. It's a YouTube channel with me and my friend who is the creator of the channel. We're just having fun, talking about things, and you're welcome to come sit down on YouTube and just watch.
So listeners, the YouTube channel is Game Industry Perverts. Check it out. This is not a perverted channel, this is just a play on words, correct?
Yes.
And the style of the videos, is it screen captures of video game playing and then your commentary based on the gameplay? Something like that?
We capture the game and either we do a live commentary or we do a post commentary. If you go onto the channel and you like it, you're like, oh, this is pretty good content, then don't be shy to visit our Patreon page and see how you can support us. And
so listeners, if you want to put forward more support towards Game Industry Perverts, head over to their Patreon page, and every little bit helps. Darky, I want to thank you very much for your time on I'm Brony and I'm Proud, and it's been a pleasure to have you.
It has been a pleasure. I was going to say to have you too, but that would have sounded weird.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Alright, bye.
Bye. This has been I'm Brony and I'm Proud. Lucky Knight speaking. Thanks for listening. Remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IBAIPshow. Proud to be a Brony. Intro and outro by Black Griffin. My Little Pony, friendship is magic.
My little pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be.